Hey everybody, welcome back to We Are Podcast Network. This is We Are Air Season 1, Episode 5, Venom Review. If this is your first time checking out the podcast, thank you so much. Please go to your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, or iTunes, and give We Are Podcast a like. And if you get a chance, head over to our social media. All links can be found in the description. We're at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at /We Are Podcast. With that said, on to the podcast.
We are Error.
Alright everybody, welcome to the We Are Error Podcast, a weekly podcast with my friends
Javi.
And this is
Jake.
And we have a special guest star today, Mr.
Hi, I'm Darren.
Mr. Darren.
Our special guest starch today is Darren.
Mr. Starch, how are you? Darren Starch, that is
I
his
feel
name.
like every time I talk into this mic, I have to lean into it.
Yeah, just give it a little bit of the hey now.
It's just a special thing. I want to just do it. Anyway,
Give a little shout out to the ladies real quick. Go ahead, do it.
Hi, ladies.
Hey now.
Hey now.
Y'all, this is the We Are Air Podcast, a weekly podcast where we talk about whatever we want. Movies, entertainment, video games. Who gives a fuck? And this week we are going to continue the trend and talk about Venom. Because guess what movie we have seen?
Not Venom.
No, we saw Venom.
Oh, we did?
We did. And we have opinions on this. I'm going to skip all the movie news this week. I want to jump right in. We just went to Studio Movie Grill in Arlington, Texas. Had a wonderful time. I want to give a special shout out to Casey. Thank you so much for hooking us up. Also, Darren for hooking us up with tickets, too. We really do appreciate it. I had a wonderful experience at that place. I don't know about you guys. Amazing establishment. Food was awesome. Service was awesome. And I really think I enjoyed the movie more because of my experience there. Would you agree?
Truly.
Yeah, you really enjoyed that movie.
Yeah, well, let's talk about the movie. I told everyone to put a moratorium on it. We weren't allowed to talk about it until now, so Javi's been jumping at the bits. Just real quick, spoiler-free, then we'll get into spoilers. It's going to move pretty quick. I want to go around and see what everyone thought, so hi.
I knew how I was going to feel this one when they were having DC's trailers on a fucking Marvel movie. I was like, oh, this is not going to bode well. And I was right, it did not bode well.
So from the very beginning of the movie, Hobbs turns to me and goes, I don't like it.
Wow.
Don't like it. He said it like right off the bat.
Motherfucker, they do that all the time. They show fucking Marvel commercials before DC movies.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, that's not that, but it's just like, for some reason, I just found it a little bit cringy at the beginning.
So you have been already set up for failure from the trailer.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Wow.
like you went into it saying, "Oh, I'm not gonna like this."
I went
even-
just like
so
a
did
jaded
I.
cop just like waiting out for his pension.
That's
Well,
true.
let's-
I did the same thing.
Well, let's get to
Well,
Jake and Darren. What'd you think?
I was surprised. I actually liked it.
All right.
Yeah.
And Darren?
Same. I actually liked it a lot.
Right.
I thought it was a great representation. Origin stories I feel are really hard to do. So, you have all this information you have to shove into like this small little space. So I feel like they did a really good job, and I feel like the critics are a little rough on this movie.
Right.
So.
And I'm going to go with a mixture of all three of you. Well, I guess the two sides of it. Not liking it, like it. I went back and forth as the movie progressed between thinking shit is terrible to this shit is amazing. And I had a great time. Once again, don't know if it was the ambiance of the Studio Movie Grill. I think there were parts in that movie, and we'll get to what I think work, and they work really well. And then there were other parts of the movie, this is a movie that you could just click to the parts or skip to the parts. I don't know what we do in the modern age. I guess click through is what I do to the parts of the movie I like. So, real
Go to
quick.
the DVD menu and then go by chapter.
Well, exactly. And there's definitely chapters. And we'll get into what works in this movie and what doesn't work. I will say that as a whole, though, that movie, that was cool. I would recommend.
I loved it. Yeah, that's what I
There was
said.
parts that I did not care for.
Of
and
course.
I was just like, this is fucking retarded.
Yeah.
But then, on the whole, the movie was A-okay.
It was pretty
Yes,
decent.
I agree. On the whole, it does feel good.
So we're just gonna skip the spoilers. So if you haven't seen it or if you have an interest in seeing it, stop listening and then come back later. But we're just gonna talk freeform about this. We're drinking a little bit. We're having a good time. So I just want to say right away what doesn't work for me. The villain. He does not work at all. Period. Done. The villains, quote unquote, maybe. What's the guy's name who played him? He was in Rogue One.
Ra's al Ghul is the correct what you were looking for.
Actually, that's false. It's Ray Charles Ghul.
Sorry.
Riz Ahmed, who was in Rogue One. does not work for me. He is not threatening in any way, shape, or form.
No.
He was literally just the most lame villain I've ever seen. And his eyes, what's so fucked up is we saw the trailer for Battle Alita or whatever it was.
Alita Battle Angel.
Yes. And the eyes in that were freaking me out. Like, they had that very anime eye thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
He had huge fucking eyes through the whole movie. And I'm
So
like...
he had anime eyes?
Yeah,
to
it
you?
was freaking me out.
So that's why you didn't like him?
But I didn't like him because he was not threatening at all.
No, he was a
Not
little
one bit.
pussy. Like,
Yeah.
he's a little Napoleon complex.
Yeah.
Literally,
like,
he yells at like his Bill Burr looking
Yes.
guy at one point, who's his lead henchman.
Just find it!
Yeah, he looked like Bill Burr, right? And he yells at him. He's like, "Go get him!" And me and Jake were just like, "Whatever."
Yeah.
Piece of
You
shit.
can't
I
take
didn't
that-
buy
you can't
it.
take that
Yeah.
film seriously.
No, and even whenever they were fighting at the end he ends up being Riot, and Riot and Venom are fighting, and like he falls out of the suit, and I'm just like, look at this little bitch. Like,
Oh, and yeah, he gets a
bullshit.
hit in on Tom Hardy also.
yeah,
He
yeah,
fucking
well, and-
gets out and punches him right away, and it's like,
did-
what the fuck?
Which didn't make sense to me. All right, that didn't work. Okay.
That guy was about starting as Steve Jobs, and he's dead.
All right, Jenny Slate. Why the fuck was she in this movie?
I don't know
What the hell did
she
she
was.
do?
I fucking love Jenny Slate.
Yeah, I thought I did too until I saw this
Yeah.
fucking movie. What was the point of having her in this movie?
Just the name, I guess. Like, oh, this ought to be good. They're doing weird things with this.
Yeah.
Jenny Slate's in there.
4 minutes.
I don't know. It didn't work for me. And like that's what I'm saying. You get into there are a lot of reviews saying this movie feels like a movie from the early 2000s, like one of the first Marvel movies, and it hits every beat it needs to hit. What ends up being though is the star of the movie. Fucking Tom Hardy brings it, and he brings it hard.
Yes,
And that's
he
what I
does.
like. He was pure charisma, and I actually turned to Jake in the beginning and was like, anytime he's not on screen, anytime these villains are on
It
screen,
does feel flat.
I'm bored.
Yeah.
You don't want
It
to
feels
look
flat.
Yeah.
It feels flat. Yeah.
But the second Tom Hardy came on screen, charisma fucking animal.
Yes.
You
Just
don't
brought
want to
the
look
beats.
away.
Yeah.
You gotta see what's gonna like
Because
what
he's
he does.
making such weird Nicolas Cage level choices.
That's
Yeah.
what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Oh,
he
Nicolas
is.
Cage level.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he's making choices where you're like, wow,
Yeah.
I can't believe he did that, but it's working. And it works because you realize the symbiote's slowly driving him crazy. And he's having this really dysfunctional relationship with it. And it's kind of, it works, but like I said, he overacts a little bit in this movie, but I think it works for the movie.
I don't know if it's I think it works for the movie. I don't know if overacting. You're playing two separate roles pretty
Right.
much, or you have to act like you're pretending like you're hearing voices.
Yeah.
Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't
Yeah.
in real life, but who knows?
But that's what I'm saying. It works for this movie. The
I
whole
agree.
crust of the crust, yeah. The whole.
Crux?
Thank you.
Some people cut off the crust.
So what works for this movie is his relationship with Venom and the back and forth and how Venom. We talked about the origin last week. How Venom calls him a loser, and he says it multiple
Yeah.
times. Calls him a loser. Calls him a pussy, which made me so fucking happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goes at him, and then when Venom turns around, he goes, "On my planet, I'm the pussy." And I was
Yeah,
like,
like-
"Oh, that's kind of cool."
It's
Like,
like my dog from
I'm a
Denmark.
loser too.
yeah, basically he's just like, "I'm a piece of shit."
Yeah.
So we're both pieces of shit. Let's do this.
That's like, hey, who you called a piece of shit? You piece of shit.
Yeah, it was great. So from beginning to end, like when it first started, what made you not like it?
I want to clear this up. I didn't appreciate till towards the end what Hardy's acting choices, but it was just I found it to be a bit weird.
Explain.
Like the humor they were trying to go for in the beginning, I was like, what the fuck? This seems kind of rushed. I don't know. It was like the timing of it just kind of threw me off.
And so anything else that happened in the movie that you were kind of like... Because you very early, you turned to me with folded arms and like, I don't like it.
I didn't.
Yeah. So
I don't know.
I can tell you what, for me in the beginning...
I think it's
going
gonna
to
be one of those movies that I'm probably gonna have to like after I see the few more.
There were weird choices in dialogue in the beginning of it. The way it was filmed in the beginning, I didn't like. It did look very bland. Thing is, it bought itself back because if that was trying to ground it in realism before all the fantastical shit happened, that worked for me. Because you're going this level, and once the symbiote shows up, it all pops up a lot for me. And that's why I was like, this changed. It almost felt like Blade to me. Like there was a weird, very grounded, every shot was like straight on, there were no cool angles, nothing. And then once the star of the show shows up, things start getting crazy. And that's why I was like, okay, this is buying it back. But the dialogue was a little bit lame. And like I said, Tom Hardy, when he delivers a lot of that dialogue, or if he was making it up, he kills it. He slays it. But everyone else you can tell is acting. When he gets in the film, it's no longer acting. You're watching something.
That first interview that he does where he turns it on him and he starts asking about all the shit that's going on at the company. That was whenever I was like, okay, I can see him being...
So at first, were you guys on board with it? Or
I
were you
was still sketchy. It looked kind of...
Yeah. I'm the same way. I felt a little hesitant. It started off really slow. And So
Yeah, it did. It took a
I was
long
like,
time.
I can take my break
I would
here.
say it took 40 minutes to get really into the movie, and I understand they were building up a lot. And we talked about before, they didn't have what Marvel has right now, where they have a bunch of jumping off points, where they can just throw a Black Panther in there and say, okay, we're introducing this character this way. They had to really build it because they don't have Spider-Man to work off. They're obviously not in this universe, to the point where they said the Daily Globe. Instead, the issue at the Daily Globe, and I turned to Jake and I was like, what the fuck was that? Or maybe you turned to me and you're like, what the fuck was that? I was like, yeah, why wouldn't they call it the Daily Bugle? So why are they trying to separate themselves already? But I think there was a slow build to get to where we needed to be. There were little things that were script, just cookie cutter script, like setting up the homeless woman to be found later so we could get the symbiote. Setting up that small little grocery store he goes to show that, he's not going to stand up for it. He looks exhausted. This is what I'm saying. Tom Hardy did a great job. He looked tired.
Yeah.
I was like, this man looks beaten down. He says, man, I'm beaten, I'm tired. He lost everything. And when the second Venom hits him, turns it all around. You can just see
a little
the acting.
rejuvenation in him.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is it did feel like an origin story, but a true origin story. So they're starting off the Sony villain universe now. Does it work as the first movie in that universe? If they're going to do Morbius, they're going to do Black Cat.
Was that the first?
Anti-hero
That was
universe.
the first?
Yeah, like Jake said, kind of like the anti-hero universe. Because they're not going to use Spider-Man or this iteration of Spider-Man. But you've got this universe that they're setting up that they're going to do everything Spider-Man lists. So you got Venom. They're planning on doing Morbius if this does well, which this movie's made $80 million, I think, already this weekend. So it'll do fine. They'll go forward with it. Black Cat. And then, if you watch through the end, the teasers at the end, there's two. We'll talk about one here in a second. Were they connecting it to Spider-Man into the Spideyverse or whatever that animated film was? Or were they just showing an extra preview for that?
What I saw before we got to the first post-credits scene, the second post-credits scene, was the music credits. And one of the credits on there was the Into the Spider-Man universe on there. So that, I don't know.
Well, you know what I noticed? They played the original they played a couple lines of the original Danny Elfman Spider-Man score. And I was like, that's weird. And I turned you to say it, and then I didn't say it.
Yeah.
But I heard it, and I'm like, are they planning on connecting this somehow to the original Sam Raimi movies? Because you could. If you ever saw, there was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie they did about 10 years ago, which came on the tail end of the last cartoon, where they connected all the universes for the Turtles. The new Turtles meet the original Turtles from the 1990s, and then they meet the original Turtles
CGI version?
No, it was a cartoon animated version. And then they meet the original Turtles from the comics, and those guys kick their ass. They're like, you guys are fucking pussies.
Yeah.
So, but they end up entering the original black and white Turtles from the comic book.
Right, they said that.
Well, they kind of said that. But
okay.
Are they planning on doing the same thing with this Enter the Spider-Man universe, do you think? Do you think they're going to put the live action movies? Are they going to be part of that?
Do you think they're going to say, we're going to kick your fucking ass?
I hope so.
Is that what you're asking me?
Do you think that they'll connect it to this new universe? Do you think they'll put the Sam Raimi, the Amazing Spider-Man universe?
I don't think so.
You don't think?
No, I really don't. I feel like that'd be too much work to fucking make it like Mary Poppins and shit,
That's true. So,
there's another Mary Poppins coming out too, so that would be hard as well. So, yeah.
Wouldn't it make sense if she went to like fucking Hogwarts or whatever?
That would tie in everything. So.
Like
she's a witch!
With the new Fantastic Beasts movie, like this new Mary Poppins movie, looks like it's set in like the same fucking time frame.
I've not watched
the magic shit. It's fucking insane.
Like that'd be pretty cool to find out.
I haven't seen it, but I'm
she was
saying
in
I've only seen the
Hogwarts. She got
trailers.
knocked out by some dude that she had to drop out, and there's like a fuck. I guess I just like become a nanny.
Right.
So
and then like later she like ends up on a boat with like Sparrow.
She can fly.
There you go.
Okay.
Oh, you were connected. I thought you meant like the Captain stabbing.
I'm connecting it all.
Yeah.
I'm connecting it all.
Or like Shorty Mac.
Oh, bringing the Shorty back. See how he rolled his eyes? He's guilty as sin about that shit. So some of the things that happened in the movie that I really liked, and they hinted to in the trailer initially. No.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, Hobbs.
I'm just joking.
The fact that he actually does eat people's heads, that made me happy.
Same here. Whenever he first did the full-on Venom transformation,
and chomps the guy.
you turned to me and we both like, yeah,
all right.
that just fucking happened.
That was the moment where I went, I'm okay with this movie because they went there. Now, do we think it was intended to be a hard R, or do you think they pushed that PG-13 as much as they could?
I think they pushed it. It felt pushed. I don't know. What do you think?
I think that they definitely took it to the... I don't know. Supposedly there's 30 to 40 more minutes worth of footage that wasn't used in the movie.
really feel like there's a rated R version coming out on DVD.
I hope so.
I really do.
I don't think the movie was good enough that Marvel's going to go, yeah, we want that.
No.
But at the same time, I'm watching it, I'm going, based off the charisma of Tom Hardy, there's a chance they might want to pull this into the MCU.
So question to that. Did it feel like a Marvel movie to
It did
you?
not to me. No.
No,
like
no,
I said,
I agree with you.
I felt like it was its own thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if maybe it was because the movie was rather dark. It could be.
Oh, okay.
They could pull it into
Well,
an
what
MCU if they
I
wanted to,
thought
think.
with the bad guy Riz Azib or whatever his name is,
Ra's al Ghul.
yeah,
Koi?
Ra's al Ghul.
Just call him
Yeah,
Rachel
whatever.
Cole for
Yeah.
now. Yeah, that works.
Anyways, I got a very Darren Cross vibe from Ant-Man from him. Whenever they're testing the shrinking ray in his office,
And he
they
just
use
turns
the
people into
sheep,
goo.
yeah, into goo. There's a sad moment, fucking Evangeline Lilly is like, oh, that's horrible. He's like, yeah. Next,
Yeah.
they kind of did that same thing
Yeah.
with this. Whenever they killed the first guy, they tried to attach the symbiote to. But I mean, just all the beats were there. Like the
Yeah,
same
and that's
time.
what I'm saying. It had all the beats of an origin movie. It had all that stuff. On top of that, you had bland villains. I can't get over if the
Yes,
villains
I
would
agree
have been.
with that. I agree with the bland villain.
If he would have been, I don't know why I keep putting Jenny Slate in there. What even happened to her? Did he killed her, right?
She died, yeah.
Because she got a symbiote, right? Like
Yeah.
he left her in a room.
Yeah, it
And
didn't
then the
take.
symbiote died.
But with that,
yeah, what was
Oh,
the
the
reason?
symbiote
Hold
died
on.
from eating her. Also, like usually they just eat them and they move on to the next one.
Yep.
So what happened with her character?
She's dead.
She's dead. That was pointless. But I will say one of the cool things though that we did get to see was the female symbiote. That's why
That
they did
was
it. They
cool.
set it up so that you thought that female symbiote was her and it ended up being his girlfriend instead.
How could it
Or
be her?
ex-girlfriend.
They
Okay.
showed her dead body.
Yeah, they showed the dead symbiote.
Oh, they did?
next
Yeah.
to her.
Maybe I popped off to the bathroom for that.
But see, the fact that you didn't really recognize that, they didn't really show it like, hey, this is
She's
what
dead.
happened.
Yeah.
They kind of like passed over it. Oh, okay, next.
Like I'm
And
telling
then
you,
it was
sure
on
she
to the
had a
next
lot of
scene.
scenes that were cut. Also,
if
though.
Tom
Probably,
Hardy wasn't on
most
the
likely.
screen, I wasn't paying attention half the movie.
Yeah.
But the second he was on the
Fair,
screen,
yeah.
I was just like,
You're
fucking
right.
A, he's awesome.
Yeah.
Because he's pure charisma, he's making weird choices, and the whole Venom thing, I wanted to see Venom in a movie for 20 years. Well, how long, when was Spider-Man 3 that came
God
out?
damn near.
You've seen it.
15?
I think we
That's what I'm saying. We
It
have
just
seen-
wasn't.
But that
it
wasn't the
what you wanted.
That wasn't the version. It was alright, but it wasn't the version I wanted to see. This was the way he looked, the way he talked, the interaction between him. Because I don't think the version that we got before had the dual personality. It was just talking, wasn't he?
Right.
Yeah. So I love the dual personality aspect of it. I love
Well,
the
he
fact
just
that
became Tobey Maguire.
yeah, basically the original Spider-Man 3 version was just supposed to be Tobey Maguire. That's how they played Eddie Brock.
Yeah.
They're just like, you're a darker Tobey Maguire character. So I did think the car chase scene was kind of pointless, but I understand why they did it. You had to hit all the action beats of an origin movie.
I kind of got reminiscent of a Black Panther for that car chase a little bit.
Yeah, you know what? The motorcycle chase scene was kind of corny.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of parts of it were cheesy, but some of it was cool. Like, okay, I'll buy that. But then it's like, the symbiote, it's fucking Superman. He can do whatever it needs to whenever the fucking time comes for it, you know?
Right.
Like, so if he's that fucking powerful to do all these things, why can't he just fucking beat the guy at the end? Like,
Well, you look at it, there's only really 3 major action beats in that. The first one with the
first
encounter,
fight.
the first fight in the apartment,
yeah.
the car chase scene, and then the ending scene.
Yeah.
So like I said, typical origin movie. But what we saw in the first scene, and I would say even in the finale where they're going to take a rocket to space so they can go back and get the rest of the symbiotes for whatever reason. The Riot symbiote wants to do that. I would have said it was bland, but it did something I never saw before. It was a fight scene on a walkway to a rocket where they're fighting in the walkway heading that way, and I was like, that's actually kind of cool.
Right.
I've never seen that
To what?
in a movie.
To what? To a skyrocket in flight.
Afternoon delights. Hey everyone, it's just Doc jumping in here real quick to say thank you so much for checking out the podcast today. If you're enjoying it, please head over to your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, iTunes, and give We Are Podcast a like. And if you get a chance, head over to our social media. All links can be found in the description. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at /We Are Podcast. And if you're enjoying the podcast today, please share with your friends. It's the only way we can grow this network. With that said, back to the podcast. We could talk all day. Do we think it's going to spawn this villain universe?
I think they think that it has potential, but if these reviews don't start
God,
turning
right?
around,
Yeah.
you know?
What are the reviews saying? I hadn't read them.
Awful.
Bad, but
Really?
real
Like,
bad.
yeah, things got
They took this shit
really
to
bad.
task.
The only thing I saw is they compared it to an early 2000s movie, and I agreed with that. But I don't
fucking
understand.
great
What are
early
they
2000s
saying
movie.
specifically?
First of all, I just feel like Sony is like horrible with like superhero movies in general. Like, I just think they mess it all up, and so that's what made me fearful of this movie. So I was actually pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
that they did a lot better than I thought it would. First of all, I'm not sure like why it got such bad ratings.
What are they putting it at right now?
Rotten Tomatoes got a 32.
Yeah, so Metacritic had it.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
But IMDb has it as 7.1.
Which is based off a user rating.
Yeah.
Metacritic had it at 33. Yeah.
What?
The audience score on Rotten Tomatoes is 89, though. So...
Is it? Do you think this is a Batman versus Superman situation where the fan
feel
base
like
is
it
going,
is.
"This is what we wanted"?
Yeah.
Or this
I
is
feel
a
like-
version
I
of it?
think, yeah.
I feel like
in a
this
lot
is
of
going to
ways
be
it
a
could be.
split fan base.
Obviously,
I don't
everybody
know.
wants the white spider on his fucking chest. You know?
Yeah, that was missing. There were spider webs missing, which, I mean, obviously we talked about the origin. The reason that Venom has that power is because he was connected to Spider-Man first, so he got
Yeah.
all of his powers. So he didn't have any of the Spider-Man powers. He did climb the walls and stuff, but it looked more like he was putting dents into it as he was climbing up.
Right.
So it was the brute strength of the Venom. It does kind of suck that we didn't get that, because I was kind of bummed out about that, because he was venoming around, but he wasn't swinging like Spider-Man in any shape or form.
Let's see, okay, so that goes back you noticing the thing with the Daily Bugle and the Daily Globe thing. Do you think that they're just taking this totally separate?
It has to be at this point. I don't think Marvel is going to accept it into the MCU as they wanted to. They own the rights to do this, so obviously they want to make money. Plus, they're legally obligated to continue making things within the Spider-Man universe, or else they lose
the property.
So they have to make
It's a classic
stuff.
case of if you don't use it, you lose it.
Exactly.
Yes.
So even though Spider-Man Homecoming was technically created by Marvel Studios and released under a Sony banner, they have to continue to make their own products too, or else they lose that. It's the same thing that happened with Fox Fantastic Four. That's why we got the movie a couple years ago, the remake. If they don't continue to make these movies, they
Even
lose
before
right.
that, the fucking old 90s one that never got released.
Yes, that
from
was the reason.
Constantine Pictures.
Yeah,
They got fucking made.
The Roger
Left-
Corman version of
yeah.
Fantastic Four. That's the reason
Yeah.
that was made, because they were going to lose licensing. So they had to make it, and the stipulation was make the movie and screen it at least once.
Yep.
And there's weird stipulations like that. There's a Hobbit movie that's only 13 minutes long, animated, that somebody made in like Germany to hold on to the rights. It only filmed or screened once in Germany or something like that. But whoever the rights holder was held on to the rights because they did that.
Good for
So
them.
Weird stipulations like that.
Loophole in the
exist.
system. Fucking take advantage of
Not
it.
necessarily, not for us, because we are the ones who want to see these things.
Yes. But did this movie work? We enjoyed it. Would
I
it
did.
get better?
I did.
It could have been better. Absolutely.
Yes.
But for the most part,
You know what, for
I got what I
Sony?
wanted to see.
Yeah, for Sony,
It could have been a lot worse, like you're
could
saying.
have been a lot worse.
Like-
I've seen it a lot worse.
Yeah, The Amazing Spider-Man
So
2, which
bad.
I spoke about before. When I walked out of that movie, I was just like, God damn,
Wow.
that sucked. I was like, that was so
I was
terrible.
pleasantly surprised with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Except for Javi.
I'm just saying, it's like,
What was it that you didn't like? Was it not having the Spider-Man on the chest?
but I don't know. It was just a weird movie that didn't really resonate with me. At all.
Explain why.
All right,
Come on,
I'm
Javi,
just saying-
bring the hate.
I didn't like the fact that it was trying really hard to be fucking quirky. I didn't appreciate it. I didn't like it. Like, oh, these stupid fucking one-liners in the action scenes. It's like, come
Liked
on.
it. I'm just going to say
I
I
did.
liked it.
For
I
me,
yeah, I
it felt
enjoyed the
like-
comedy. I
For me,
enjoyed
I felt
it
like
a
I was
lot.
watching like a Marvel version of BJ and the Bear. I didn't like this fucking blood shit. Like, I'm a fucking loser too. Get the fuck out of here. So am I. We got that in common.
Okay.
And it's just kind of like, come on, man. Just
But that I liked. That was something I
What
thought
do
they
you
did
want
really
from
well.
it?
I feel like you should relate then.
What would
I
you...
can't relate, but it's like.
So
come on.
you did
What-
relate to the loser that
What's
you
the
just
Venom
called
movie
yourself.
that you would write?
What would be the version of Venom that you wanted to see?
I don't know. Like fucking something more darker.
That was pretty dark, man.
Yeah,
He was
okay.
hitting people's heads off.
Okay.
But they essentially they didn't even show it. It was just like an implied gesture.
You know, I think a lot of people did have... that was a big hang-up for a lot of people. They wanted darker Venom. They wanted it to be... I think there's a reason why they wanted it to be rated R, because they wanted to see that darker side.
I see what you guys are saying. A rated R version could have took a little bit darker. I think you need those comedic elements that the movie brought, though. I
Okay.
think
But then be better at it.
whenever Venom says, jump out the window, and then you see him going down the elevator,
Yeah.
and you just hear, pussy.
That was
Yeah,
great.
That
I
made me
thought- I
happy.
loved it. Yeah,
that
I
was
loved
great.
it.
But if it would have been a hard R, you could have seen him eat the heads. Well, you do kind of see him eat the head off
Yeah.
the one guy, the second guy. But they could have added the blood and the gore to it, which would have been great. I'm not gonna
I
lie.
think more rated R, like more just...
Well, they dropped
heavier Venom, like, darkness.
That whole scene whenever Ryan and Venom were fighting together and they fucking were merging and shit.
super
That
awesome.
was
That was
dope.
super cool.
Like I said, anytime Tom Hardy or Venom were on the screen,
Yeah.
I was there 100%.
That was fucking
Okay,
sick.
so here we go. Would you not say that Logan was a darkly themed movie.
You're 100% right. This
Okay,
was
now-
not Logan.
Exactly. Exactly. And I feel like what I feel like is critics or people that really wanted this Venom movie wanted a version of that.
Right.
I really feel that.
But once again, that was earned over a long period of
Oh
time.
yeah, of course, I
movies.
agree. But you know, we're talking about people here.
Well, what Casey said was he thinks that a lot of the hate derives from people just wanting Spider-Man to have something to do with it, wanting more Spider-Man.
That too.
But I didn't feel that way. I was like, oh, I'm perfectly fine with Spider-Man not being in this. I just really want like heavier moments, like more emotionality in it. Is that a word? I feel
Well, for
No,
me,
that's not a word.
Oddly, though, what you're saying was the
I would like you to spell it though.
emotionality. Good.
emotionality. Oh, I can't even
Your
say
word is emotionality.
Yeah, you got all those fucking fancy fuck alliterations.
That's correct.
You can't-
Okay, I also want to say Michelle Williams in the movie, who they made look like Gwen Stacy a lot, which I thought was weird.
Yeah, right.
Works for me though. I
She
was like,
was good
I
in
liked
that
her.
scene whenever she saw him
yeah.
fucking
I
turning.
agree with you. That look there, just getting like, I like her. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
I was like totally buying
I
it.
enjoyed it.
But go ahead. That was the killer scene. The only reason she was there was to be the she Venom,
Yep.
and it fucking worked.
No,
for me.
and it worked.
No.
It worked.
I'm talking about the scene where she catches him transforming back into Eddie Brock. She's like, "What the hell was that?"
Oh yeah, and then she
And
goes
she's like,
hospital, and me and Darren literally were laughing for like a minute straight because we're both the same page. We're like, been there,
Yeah.
done that before, seen that bitch. The other thing I thought was her boyfriend was awfully fucking understanding to the situation.
Oh, he loved Eddie Brock.
Yeah,
he was in
He
love
was a
with
Venom
him. It's
fan.
like
was that?
He was a Venom fan. That's what it was.
Will Ferrell basketball movie where the guy like
semi-pro.
Woody Harrelson's divorced, but his wife's
Yes!
loves him.
So he's that character.
Yeah.
He is.
Totally, yeah.
Totally that character.
Well, that's a good segue to Woody Harrelson. He is in the movie. We talked about it before. He plays Cletus Cassidy, and there were
There's a
rumors
horse
that he
in
was
the
going to
ring.
do it. So, what did we think of his quick turn as the Carnage?
I don't know. To me, it kind of seems like they're going to set it up for another PG-13
That was.
movie.
I'm going to say that was a little hammed up. It was a little cheesy. A little
He
top
was pulling
line.
a Nicolas
He
Cage.
was fucking.
It was
yeah,
like fucking
he thought.
Or a Tom Hardy now. Is what
There
we're
will be carnage.
Yeah, he did put on a weird, high-pitched southern
He's
accent.
kind of like a tougher version of Mr. Garrison.
Yeah.
Now, there will be carnage, Mr. Ham.
I mean, and they made him look like the chicken fucker for the first time.
Yep, they did. Or Carrot
The
Top.
fucking
was a
bookmobile
weird-
chicken fucker.
There was a clown wig.
Carrot
It's
Top
like a
Field.
fucking Carnage. I'm not.
Look,
It's
Carrot
like they
Top.
took an amalgamation of South Park characters and said, "Bam!
He did
That's
look-
Carnage."
He looked like a
He
Raggedy
got
Ann.
Kyle's hair.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Mr.
Raggedy
Garrison's
Andy.
tone of voice and fucking mannerisms and all that. Oh, there will be carnage.
Do it again.
Oh, there will be carnage.
Dude, he's just so shitty. Just don't worry, it's coming.
We were talking about this last week. If you're gonna do a Carnage movie, you gotta fucking make that
I
shit
think-
dark. That's gonna be a hard off.
Yeah.
I think
See?
he's the right actor.
Yes, I agree.
Well, that brings a good point. Will they, based upon the fan reaction, PG-13, they made their money, they know there's something there. Will the next one be a hard R?
Nope.
Because they're not getting into the MCU. It's not happening.
They won't.
Period. Done.
About toy sales.
My personal
That's true.
feelings
Yeah,
with
that's
Sony
true.
is they're just doing the paycheck.
Yeah, it's all about
they're
toy
gonna
sales,
create
man.
this universe, and people are gonna keep coming.
But you
to
gotta
it.
remember, they don't get the toy money. The only thing Sony gets is the film money. All the licensing for the toys and everything is still owned by Marvel. That's all going to Disney. So they don't have to, if they're not going that way with the toy money, all they care about is the movie money, what that makes. That's
Well,
all they're
still,
getting.
even, yeah, but PG-13 means a larger audience.
It does. But also, if you go, like I said, Carnage, you could possibly, I mean,
For the
like
most part.
you
Yeah,
brought up
I
Logan.
agree with you.
You brought up Logan. Logan made a shit ton
Yeah,
of money.
right. Deadpool.
It's not always
Deadpool.
the case.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, and look, Deadpool's coming out with the PG-13 version.
Yeah, that's gonna be.
Oh my gosh!
After the
that's
fact.
gonna
It
be-
sounds
oh my
hilarious.
gosh!
the way
What do you
they
think
do
of that, Darren? You saw the news, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. What do you think?
I think it's gonna be hilarious. Ryan Reynolds has been great as Deadpool, and like he's just taken it and ran with it, like even on his own, without like the studios or anything. Like just him on Twitter is hilarious. Him feuding with Wolverine is hilarious. So I really think they're gonna take this PG-13 and he's gonna make it a twist of it.
You think it'll maybe work?
I think he'll make it work. It's great.
It could
Deadpool
possibly
is so
be
great.
a transition because they've been talking about they will implement his version of Deadpool into the MCU whenever Fox or Disney purchases all Fox and gets everything. Maybe this is a transitional move to see if the fans accept a PG-13 version. Of Deadpool.
What I will tell you on the business side is that Fox, although they sold the rights, Disney will keep it in its own little entity. Mm-hmm. And so that way, if they want to do a rated R movie, they can, and they can just say it's
under the Fox
brand.
Yeah,
and we talked about
what
that
they
too.
Purchased. So
I think though once they get those characters, and we talked about before, the X-Men and Fantastic Four being in their own pocket universe is fun because in the comics
I don't like it. I like it open, like anything can happen, because you know what that creates, like craving for me of like what can happen next. Mm-hmm. Like there's so many like multiverses that you can just, and like big happenings in comic books that you can just tie in so many characters, and like limiting yourself is just stupid to me.
I've heard two different things on this also about what people wanted at the end of Infinity War whenever the pager dropped and you saw the Captain Marvel logo. Dan Danzy, shout out, said that he wanted to see the symbol X on there, which would have been good. Mm-hmm. Walt Flanagan, he said the only thing that would have made that better, so the Captain Marvel logo was the number 4.
Right.
So, I mean, people wanted this integrated all together. They want this giant universe. Think about, whenever you heard that they're making Infinity War, you're like, holy shit, you know, they got everybody in it.
So do we want to see this version of Venom in the MCU is the question. Do you think it's not going to happen? But if we saw
you know why? Because it doesn't have the proper origin story. That's why I don't want to see it.
Right.
On its own.
Fair. But on its own, yes, I like it. And I'm open to seeing what they do with it next. Right. So I'll say that.
I don't want to see the integration. I don't think his character fits into the universe all that well.
Right. You think the film doesn't merit it?
It doesn't.
I think that it would work, personally. I think if they took this...
What makes you think that it would work?
I think Tom Hardy is very charismatic. I think his take on it, you can forget the first movie. You can throw it aside.
Yeah, throw it aside.
The Incredible Hulk with, what's his name?
The first Norton, Captain America's movie, the first Avenger, nobody paid attention to it.
I like that one.
I loved it. I loved it, but a lot of people like gave it shit.
And you're right, because when you get to the Winter Soldier, you can almost look at the storyline starting there. You can kind of look at that. But if you look at the Incredible Hulk...
Banner?
No, not Hulk. Even though they were smart enough to go, Hulk can still exist, and we can go to the Incredible Hulk, and then we can go to the Avengers version.
Yeah.
But if you look at the Incredible Hulk, not a great movie, very forgettable. Venom, I like the part that worked for me was Tom Hardy and Venom.
Yeah. Yep.
You take that, forget the rest of that movie, and spin it, put it in there. Totally works.
Retcon the rest.
Totally works.
And I'll tell you this, because if they come out with a Winter Soldier type movie on their second movie, guess what? This movie... they'll be like, oh, that was a little good.
Yeah, because Venom 2
people
is,
might
like
rethink this movie based off of the next movie.
What we've been talking about before with the Batman universe right now, how you went back, the DC extended universe right now, is you make this Joker movie a prequel, and you do the new Joker, the Jared Leto Joker, is the demented version of the Robin.
That's how you buy back. I told him about your theory.
Yeah. Jake was just telling me.
Yeah, so that's how you
buy
it back.
Theory, and I tell you what. I gotta sign on that. If that happens, I'm a huge fan of DC again. Because right now, their movies are a mess. Mm-hmm. Although Aquaman looks kind of cool.
Look at Javi over there.
Little mess.
Did you see that?
Okay, we're not talking about that anyways. Back to
Javi thinks fucking Aquaman is going to be Black Panther, but Aquaman's going to be Killmonger.
I'm not going to quote that.
You didn't like Black Panther?
I love Black Panther.
Okay.
Boy, you gotta be careful.
I didn't say that he didn't like it just
Black
because
Panther,
I've heard
you gotta
that.
be careful.
No, I really do like Black
I
Panther.
did too.
Okay.
What else is there really to say about it?
I'm not a fan of the Eminem song.
The Eminem song, which you guys think of that? Is that really what it is?
It sounds like it sounds like he's revving a bike. Except he's saying Venom.
Do you think he saw the trailer and he went, look, there's a bike in the movie, it's a soft tail, which, why the fuck was it a soft tail? I don't understand.
Oh yeah, and he stole that bike from Wolverine with a fucking X headlight.
Yeah, I was thinking that the whole time.
I did see that! Okay. I wasn't the only one. Okay, alright, so y'all saw that too.
I was also thinking that too. I was like, what the fucking X-Men bike from the first X-Men movie? What the shit?
That was it.
Venom!
Does it really sound like that?
Venom!
Yeah.
It's like whenever he raps on this, all I hear is just like...
Not talk to the devil in me.
And it's like, holy shit, he actually does rap like that.
The force
enhances before you have the portion.
Portions and the divorce at the same time.
Real quick, I want to grab final thoughts, okay? We'll go around. Javi, recommend it to people or no?
I will recommend it.
Alright.
Oh man, nice flip flop, hobby. Nice flip flop. Way to waffle.
All right.
I'm waffle.
Jake, what do you think? Recommend it?
It's worth a watch.
See it in the theater
That's
or no?
a DVD movie, actually.
If you go to the right theater, yeah, it's worth go watching.
Like I said,
I had a good experience.
Yeah, was great. Like I've never been to that studio movie grill, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
Once again, shout out Casey. Thank you.
Lincoln Square Studio Movie Grill.
And Darren, thank you also. What do you think? Recommend the movie?
I do recommend the movie. I would have to say go see it with a crowd because of the comedy aspects of it. It will be more enjoyable in like a movie theater setting.
Absolutely.
But if it's like, towards the end and you're going to see it by yourself with an empty theater, I'd probably wait till it comes out on DVD.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Real quick, I want to do something new. We want to make a recommendation for something cool that we've seen either on the internet this week, YouTube, something we've read that you can check out, or maybe some music that you might want to look at. Javi, have you read anything this week? Have you seen anything this week that you might recommend to people to check out?
I recently learned that One Punch Man officially got confirmed for season 2. So if you haven't seen One Punch Man season 1, go check it out on Netflix.
And what is it about that show that you like?
It's just great. It's just like about a fucking guy. It's about a guy with like Superman with too much time to kill. And he's like, it's a depressed Superman.
I feel like that's a great representation of that show. Superman with too much time to kill.
Are you a fan of the show?
I thought it was a little too flippant for my personal taste, but I kind of, I thought I was watching one thing, and I thought I was watching like this awesome anime, and it ended up being like more of a comedy.
Okay.
But I would say go into it thinking it's a comedy, and maybe you might get a different feel than I do.
Right. So do you have anything that you watched this week or read or listened to that you would recommend to our listeners?
I will say Helldivers, the book series, is a great read. If you're into like zombies kind of feel, but not necessarily zombies. It's just more of a twist on it, futuristic, post-apocalyptic kind of world. It's a very interesting read, and there's a whole book series on it. Check out Helldivers. It's really good. You can get it on Audible.
Audible. Download yet.
Yeah, that's our sponsor this week in the future. God, I wish. Jake, have you read anything? Have you watched anything this week that you want to share?
No, not really. My friend's 88-year-old booby is having her bat mitzvah this Saturday. She wasn't allowed to have it due to the Gestapo, but just if you want to go give a like to Kyle's booby on Facebook, wish her a happy bat.
I want to recommend what Jake sent me this week was the Venom short film, Truth in Journalism, I believe was what it's called. And that's also going to lead us down a rabbit hole of fan films that we want to do at some point here as a podcast. There's a bunch of amazing fan films out there. That one, the Punisher one that I said.
Dirty Laundry. That was amazing.
Really
also.
good.
Yeah,
evidently, there's an entire Star Trek movie that is a sequel movie that is a fan film. And it literally has some of the cast from the original Star Trek in it. So I want to check that out. But,
I bet James Doohan's in there, huh?
Oh, probably. Well, his son, there is a Phase 2 show that's just a fan show. He's in that. His son plays him. He plays Scotty in that, so it's freaking crazy.
I like all the interviews James doing.
He didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he didn't give a shit, dude. He's just like, whatever. This is what I do. We appreciate you listening. If you want to check out more stuff, Quack Attack 5000 on YouTube. We also have a Facebook group now. Please join. We're going to be posting cool shit there.
Give us a like and a share.
Absolutely. Come in and talk to us. We want to talk back to you. Javi, thank you for being with us. Jake, thank you for being with us.
Of course.
And Darren, thank you for being our special guest this week. So hopefully we'll talk to you soon. If you want to reach out to us by email, it'll be quackattack5000@gmail.com. So once again, thank you for listening. Y'all have a great week. Go check out Venom.
Yeah.
That was a good outro.
That was like a podcast.
That's right.
And there it is. Thank you so much for checking out the podcast today. If you have enjoyed it, please do not forget, share with your friends. That is how we grow the network. And if this is your first time listening, head over to your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, iTunes, and give We Are Podcast a like. And if you've enjoyed this podcast, you're going to love the other podcasts here on the We Are Podcast Network. We have We Are Bagu, a video game podcast featuring me and Dr. Ethan Eastwood. That's where we talk Atari to Steam and everything in between. Don't forget Heroes was Gyros, a Dungeons and Distractions side quest. Me and the boys were sitting down, we're playing some D&D, we're having so much fun. You can go ahead and start that from the beginning of the journey, Season 1, Episode 1. You're going to love it all the way through. And finally, I hate being sober. Personal stories from epic people. I'm going to sit down with some of the most epic people I've ever met in this world, and we're going to talk about their life, we're going to talk about their trials and tribulations, and we're just going to talk about their journey this far. Head on over to our social media. All links can be found in the description. You can find us at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at /WeArePodcast. Also, head over to the Facebook group, We Are Era. We would love to see you in that group. And don't forget, if you've enjoyed the podcast today, share it with your friends. That's the only way we can grow this network. With that said, do not forget, support local comedy in any way that you can. We really do appreciate it. We'll see you next time.